So it goes as follows, right? So 3 parts are processed in 3 machines: CNC machining, lathe machining, and drilling, right? The parts follow a specific sequence, and the last station is used to decide which items go to the scrap bin and shipping, respectively, right? So we're just going to be building on what we did last week, in a sense that we'll be introducing a few more modules. Yeah, and these modules are going to assist you in either your test or your assignment, right? For now, we're not sure if it's gonna be an assignment or a test, right? So yeah, just pay attention, right? So yeah, we're gonna start off by building, right? Let me just uh, okay. Okay. Done. Okay. Um. Okay. So we are told that we are having 3 parts, right? So what that means is we'll be having 3 entities, right? I mean 3 create modules, right? So it'll go as follows. So we will have 3 create modules, or put on 3 create modules there. Okay. And then we can call this part 1. Okay, and we can have the maximum arrivals to set it at 10. And then we can set the units to, let's set it to minutes, right? And click OK. And then we can have part 2 here. And click OK. Just need to also define our maximum number of arrivals here. So on this create module, we will say the maximum number of arrivals, it's also 10, right? So we also get 10 parts, right? And then we can say units, it's minutes, and we can click OK. Okay, and then we can also fix this and make it units, and then also make this 10. And then we can remain, the entities per arrival can just be 1 entity per arrival, right? And then you can click OK. Okay, so because this is sequencing, we now have to use a different, yes, did we define that? I don't get you. We define the data. Oh, entity. Oh, okay. In this case, we do not have to do that. So it's just it just remains as 1 entity for now. Yeah. Sorry. So if you can see, it has already defined for us entity type. It's entity 1. Yeah. Let me see height. Yeah. Okay. Okay, and then for each part, we're gonna put in front of it an assign module, right? So we're gonna put 3 assign modules. So this is a new module, and this module, what it means is, so for each part, you will through this assign module, uh, the part will know where to go to, which station to go to in the system, right? And then it's the same. It can be said for part two, right? However, the sequence in which we set here on us on the assigned module will determine how the part travels through your system, right? So for each part, it has its own assigned module, right? So after that, we're gonna also have a routing module, right? This is the second module we're introducing from last week, right? So we're gonna have a root module also for assign 2 and for assign 3, right? And then we're gonna have, so each component it goes through 3 stations, right? um, as described in the case study here, right? So we're gonna also have, so I'm just putting our components on before we start connecting, right? So we're gonna also have stations, right? So we're gonna have 4 stations. 3 stations are where each component goes through, right? And then the fourth one is where all the components go to, and then they go to shipping or disposal, right? Yes. Okay. Yes. So station, it's where we will be placing your components, and then your process, that's where either the machining, the CNC machining is done, the lathe machining is done, or the third one, according to this thing, is this is where the drilling will happen. Yeah, you can say, you can put it like that. Okay, the lady said I'm too fast today. Okay, so guys, I'm just gonna quickly start over a bit, right? So we are having 3 components, right? And these 3 components, they are machined in 3 stations, right? And those 3 stations are those 3 stations, it's where the CNC machining happens, the lathe machine happens, and the drilling happens, right? Now, as I said, recall, I said we have 3 components. Now, these 3 components, they are machined by these 3 machines, right? But not in the same sequence, right? So one will go through machining, CNC machining, lathe machining, and drilling. The other one will go through drilling, CNC machining, and lathe, and so on and so on, right? So we are having different sequences, right? And then we're just trying to find which sequence is better, right? Okay, so are we fine for now? Okay. Okay, so as I was saying, for now, we're just placing all the modules we'll need, and I'm just going through what each module uh, uh, means. And then after that, we're gonna just start putting in our parameters, connecting all our modules, and then running our simulation, right? So we started off by putting three create modules, right? Because we are dealing with three parts, right? And then we are having an assign module, right? We're having 3 for each create module. Now, one thing you can observe is we have an assign and an assign attribute, right? For this scope, we'll only be looking at the assign module, not the assign attribute, right? It's not in your scope. We're not covering it. We're not covering it for you guys. But you're welcome to explore it in your own time when you are, yeah, yeah. Okay, so and then we're having a root module, right? So a root module in a way will tell your part where to go after it is done uh, uh, processing from the first station, right? And then we are having, as I said, we are having 3 stations. So that's where your parts go. And we are having another one. So this station, this is where we'll be connecting our decision module to the shipping disposal module, and to maybe not maybe to the rejects disposal module, right? Okay, so once we have our stations like this, we can put our processes, right? So the station is followed by the process, right? We have process 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So here we'll have our CNC machining and lathe machining and drilling, right? Okay, and then after that we have another a route module. Remember, your route module, it directs where your component goes to, right? So it will be connected to your processes like that. Okay, it's fine. Can leave it there. Okay, and then we said that after all our components have been processed, we'll have 2 dispose modules, right? This one is the shipping, and then this one it's the scrap, right? Yes. It'll be more clear. Thing is, just noticed that I forgot to put in my prepared slide in my USB, so I'm just improvising at the moment. But it'll be much more clear, and yeah, you'll be informed of which modules to use, right? Okay. Okay. Let me just now put the decision module. So this decision module, if you can remember, you specify the percentage of your of your entity as to which module it goes to, right? So we're saying 95% 95% of our components, they are default free, right? They are defect free, right? Whereas 5% is scrap, right? But obviously, in your case, if it's a real life scenario, you'll be putting in the real life information, right? And then we click OK. Okay. 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 So we have all our modules that we need, and what's left is connecting. But before that, we're just gonna do a few configurations. So dispose 1 here, we can start from the back here. So dispose 1 here, we can name it shipping. So once all our components have been machined, packaged, they go to shipping, right? And then you can click OK. And then here we can say this is where we dispose of our defects, right? Then you can click OK, just like that. Okay, and then process 1. This is our CNC machining. CNC machining, and yeah, we'll fix the parameters once we're done with naming, right? The second one, it's lathe machining. And then the third one is drilling. Okay. Okay. Okay, then after that, we can, sorry? Oh, someone is saying I must wait. Okay, I'm gonna try speaking a bit slow. So how far are we? Have we started naming our process modules? Sorry? Trailing, okay. Um, okay, just gonna wait for 2 more minutes, right? Sorry. Sorry. So, how can I put it? Dispose, remember, what the dispose function or module, eh, we can say it symbolizes like the end of a process, right? So for us in this context, we're saying everything is done when items go for shipping, when they leave the distribution center, for lack of a better word. And then in the other case of defects, we're saying if all the machining is done, uh, we cannot go to shipping up until we take these the defects to the defect disposal module, and then they'll be recycled again into the whole process. And then if they're no longer defects, they'll go to the shipping module. So that's how it works. Do you understand a bit? There's also under discrete processing, release. Yeah, with this one, I'm not really familiar with it, but you can go ahead and like check it out, what it means. I'm just familiar with the dispose. Yeah. Okay. So the other step that we need to do is to click on root, right? And then click on any root module, and then if you can go to destination, if you can go to route 1, for example, right? um, you have your route time, units, destination type, station name, and comment, right? Will not do anything to the route time for just to keep the model simple, right, and not complex. And you have units, you have a units column, right? So in the units column, this is where you you change your route to the minutes that you're working with, right? So for our case, we're using minutes, right? So if we can change all the units of our routing modules to minutes. And you'll observe once you click on like a unit next to a certain routing module, you'll see by these dots here that it's like you have selected it, right? So that's a way of seeing that you have selected the correct route, right? Okay. Okay, and we're gonna go ahead and do the same under destination type, right? For all our route modules. So under destination type, you will see you have a few you have a few selections there. You have station, by sequence, attribute, or expression. For our case, remember we are doing job sequencing. So you'll click on by sequence, and then you'll do that for all the other routes, right? So yeah, I hope it's starting to make sense now as to what we are doing, right? If not, it'll make sense. Okay, so once we're done with that, we can now go to our assign module, right? Right. Oh no, mistaken. So we have to go to data definition and then go to sequence. So click on sequence. So go to data definition and click on sequence. Okay, and then you'll come across a blank display under your workspace, right? So here, this is where we put in what's this? This is where we put in the parts, right? That are going through the system. So you will, since we have 3 parts, you're gonna have also 3 rows here. And then we can rename this as, no, these are where our this is for our parts, right? So you can say P1 for part 1, and then P2, and then P3. So if you give your parts the same name, you'll see that it'll be highlighted in yellow up until you fix it, and then the color will go away, right? So once you're done with naming those parts, you'll click on 0 rows where it's written 0 row. Yes. Sorry. So are you is the yellow color on the steps column? No, it's okay. It's okay. So next we'll go to so I will solve for P1, right? So for P1, we'll click on 0 rows there, and then you'll double click up until station number 3. So if you can see here, we first defined the sequence, and then we defined our parts, but like in short, right? Thing is, you can't say part 1 again because you'll be giving the same you'll be giving the name of your module to a variable, and you'll get an error, right? So that's why we're now shortening it to P1, but in essence, it's like part 1, right? So after this, once you click under steps, once you click on 0 rows for part 1, you'll see this pop up, right? With the heading steps there. And then you'll double click up until you see 3 stations there. Let me see something. So, okay, in our case, yeah, it's 3 stations. No, it should be 4. Should be 4 stations. Okay, we are having 4 stations in total. All right. So, part 1, we will say it follows a pattern of going from CNC to lathe to drilling, right? So, okay, no, actually, I am wrong. Okay, yeah, so we'll say that part 1 goes to station 1, and then goes to station 2, and then goes to station 3, right? For the other one, we'll change the sequence. So here, this is where you are defining your sequence, right? So just bear that in mind, right? So part 1 will go to station 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? And then we can close that window. and then you'll see that it's no longer 0 rows, but 4 rows, right? And then for P2, we are saying instead of it starting from station 1, where CNC machining happens, we're saying that it starts at lathe machining, right? So we're gonna click, you're gonna add 4 stations again, right? But here you're gonna change it and say station 2, and then we're gonna say after lathe machining, it goes back to station 1, and then it goes back to drilling, which is station 3, right? And then station 4, right? Now, if you can observe something, under station name, the stations are station 2, station 1, 3, and 4. But here on this, on the first column that doesn't have a name, you can see that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So in a way, the software is saying, okay, the first step, what I will do is take the part to station 2, and then the second step, I'll take the part to station 1, and then step 3, I'll take the part to station 3, and then lastly, what I'll do sequentially is take the part to station 4, right? Okay, and then now we're gonna do the reverse of sequence, the reverse of the sequence for part 1, right? So for that, we're gonna do the same. Add 4 stations, and then here it'll be station 3, 2, 1, and then station 4, right? The last station for all the parts is station 4, right? And then we're gonna click, we're gonna close this window, right? Okay, and then I believe, okay, the last phase of our parameter setup is that we'll go to assign 1, right? Okay, in assign 1, this is where you are, how can I put it? You are defining your, the type of, what's this? The color of your component, just so that we can see it going through the system. And then you're also defining the times that it takes to machine each component, right? So you're gonna click on add, and then we're gonna click on this is where you need to pay attention, guys, right? So because this one is not gonna be like in the instruction, right? So for this phase, we're always using like attribute. The type that the assignment type is attribute, right? Okay, and then sorry, are you okay? Okay, so we select attribute, and then we go on to select entity dot sequence, right? And then we can say this is for P1, for part 1, right? Okay, yeah, part 1. And then, so this is just to tell the software that like for this assignment, this is for part 1, right? So here we're just assigning, we're just giving instructions that part 1, it will follow the sequence that was set in the previous parameter setup, right, under sequence, right? Then we're gonna add, we're gonna go to attribute again, and then click entity picture, right? So this is just for the animation phase of our simulation so that we can see what's going on in our simulation, right? Then we can just say, okay. And then we're gonna click add again, and then click on attribute, right? Then here, this is where we write a shortened label for CNC machine, right? So we're gonna say add, And then you're gonna click attribute. Sorry. Okay, let me just take a step back and let me just delete this. So how I added that entity picture, you click add, and then you click on attribute, and then under attribute name there, you will click on entity.picture. Do you see it? Yes. That one, it's let's just say, remember we are doing job sequencing, right? So in a way, you are setting that assign module to sequence that how can I put that job sequence for part one. So for what you call, and then you defined P1, and then it will be the same for P2. P2 it will be entity.sequence and then comma P2, and then for the last part you'll do the same step. Yeah. You're saying I've selected entity.picture. Not all of them. Not all of them. Between. Okay. So entity.picture, it's about when we are simulating, running the simulation. So we want to see that, so that entity.picture, we're gonna also define it further, right? By defining maybe it being a report, a blue color, a red color, and whatnot, right? So for this one, it's just, we're not gonna, we're gonna only define it when we get to what you call the process module. But yeah, just follow along. You'll understand why I'm saying entity.picture for now. Okay. Okay. So we are now defining. As I said, did you find that entity.picture? Okay. And then you can click OK. Right. And then the other one is now for each machining process, we will now define how long it takes each component to go through each machine, right? So we're gonna say add, and then type attribute, and then we name it. Let's just say C underscore Mac. So this is short for CNC machining, right? And then we're saying on average. So you're gonna be given the times, right? In your assignment. So for CNC machining, we are saying it takes on average, let's say it takes 5 seconds, right? And then you can click OK. Okay, and then we're gonna click add. Sorry? We're gonna fix that in the end. We're gonna correct that in the end. We're gonna set it in the end, actually. Sorry? That was the first step that we did. So you click add, then you go to attribute, and then you click on under attribute name, you go to entity.sequence, and then you define P1. That is short for part one. Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna cancel this. Okay, and then we're gonna add the time it takes for P1 to go through the lathe machining, right? Okay, so we can rename that to be L underscore Mac. And then we are saying it takes on average also 5 minutes, or let's just make it 4 minutes, right? And then we're gonna say okay. And then we're gonna say the last one, it's drilling, right? Drilling, attribute, and then we can just say drill instead of drilling, right? And then click, and then on average it takes expo. It takes also five minutes, right? Then you can click OK. Okay. Once we're done with that, you can click OK. Yes. Yeah. This is just we're saying those times are the average time it takes for part one to be processed. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna click OK, and we're gonna repeat the. Okay. Before that, there's something important that I am missing, right? When you are inputting your machines, they should be aligning with the sequence. So let me just double check if my sequence is correct. So if I can say sequence for P1, so we're saying station 1, 2, and 3. So CNC machining, lathe machining, drilling. So we're correct, right? For P2, it's different now. So with P2, we're starting with lathe machining. We're starting with, and then we're going to CNC machining, and then we're going to drilling, right? And then lastly, station 4, right? Okay. Okay, and then we're gonna go back to assign 2, and then add, and then we repeat the same steps, right? So first of all, it's entity.sequence, and then now it's now P2. So we're doing the sequence for P2 now. And then you click OK, and then we add an entity picture for that so that we can see during simulation mode. So it's attribute, and then under attribute name, you click entity.picture, right? And then you click OK. Okay, and then we now start so those short labels we gave for our machines, you use throughout your parts, right? So it's key that you use the same, right? And you'll see why. So let me just check what I used for. So for CNC machining, we said it's C_Mac, and then for lathe machining, it's L_Mac, and then for drilling, it's just drill, right? Okay, and then I'm gonna click OK. Sequence P2. Okay. Okay, then we add. We start adding now. So it's first we start with lathe machining, right? L_Mac. Sorry. Oh yes, yes. Thanks for that. So, under okay. Okay. So yeah, if you defined it the first time, you don't have to define it again, right? Yes. Yeah. So for part 2, it has a different order. So that's what we're doing for now. So we're having a lathe machine, and then for this component, it takes 6 minutes, right? So remember, this is like dummy data. It's not actual. It's not actual data, right? Then you click OK. and then we go to CNC, CMake, and we're saying in this machine it takes 5 minutes, right? Let's just make it 7, right? Then click OK, and then lastly we will have drill, right? So for this part, our drill takes takes on average 8 minutes. Then we can click OK. Okay, and then once you're done with that, we can click OK, and we do the last assignment, right? So for that, we can add. We have our entity.sequence for P3, and then you click OK, and then we add our entity picture. Okay, and then we now add the sequence. The sequence, okay, the sequence is drilling, lathe machining, CNC, right? It's the opposite of the first sequence for part 1, right? So we're gonna go to add variable, attribute, then we say drill. Then for this component, it just takes 3 minutes. And then lathe machining. So we now have L machining, and L machining, in the lathe machining, it takes on average 4 minutes. And then we can click OK, and then we can click add. And then the last one is CNC CMake. So in CMake, in CNC machining, it takes 5 minutes. I'm slow. Okay, so where are you now? Okay, okay. Then we can click. Sorry? For the sake of time, people are just gonna have to watch the recording, right? So it's being recorded now. We're gonna click OK. Yeah, it's being. We're on Teams. I'm recording the meeting. Yes. Sure. Okay. For which part? Let's just wait for my guy there, then I'll correct you. Are you okay? Okay. CMake for the part 3. Hello. It's 5. It's 5 minutes. Okay. Yes. Okay. And then we're gonna click OK once you're done with that, right? Okay, so the last thing is to go to our process module and do the last configuration. So yes. Hello. The guys that side. Are you okay? Okay. So we're gonna go to the CNC machining process module, and we're gonna just complete some configurations, and then we're gonna run our module. We're gonna run our model, right? So As always, the logic action is C is delay release. We spoke about why that is. And then we can just click add, and then we can just click OK, right? And then you'll see that your resource, it's resource 1.1. Now, in the previous class, we had a resource in the form of, was it a cashier? And in other cases, it was a machine, right? But to make this model simple, we just add that resource that is there by default, right? And then the delay type, we can have it to be an expression. Wait. So the delay type, we define it as expression, and then you'll get to see why. It's because here we get to put in those values that those short values of the machining that we put into our assignment modules, right? But yeah, you'll understand when you get here, right? So next, after expression, you go to minutes, and then because we are on CNC machining, you'll click on C underscore Mac, the very same one that we defined. So what this means is for your part one, for example, it will follow the time that you set under CMake. For part two, it will follow the time that you set under LMake, for example, and so on and so on, right? It's like a variable in a way, right? And then we click OK. And then we do the same for lathe machining. And then we add resource. And then we click on expression. Then minutes, units are minutes. And then for this, it's LMAC. I'm just gonna double check if like it's all lowercase or all uppercase, right? And then we're gonna do for drilling, C is delay release. Then we're gonna add a resource, and then expression, and then minutes, and then we just say drill. Then we click OK, right? Okay, and then if we can just double check something. On entity, we should set the type of picture. Okay. I think this is not where we set it. Let me just double check something. Animation. Okay. Okay. So let us just get to the connecting, and then I'll get back to defining the pictures of the entities, right? So let us connect our modules. So our station one will be connected to that one, and so on and so on. Yes. Sorry? So you're on drilling now, right? You mean on expression? Okay. You remember, if you can look up there, you remember on assign, we said drill, it's expo, and then we said 5, right? I'm just now on assignment 1. So drill, it's the what's this? The delay type, it's expo, and the average time it takes for part 1 to be machined in drill, it's 5 minutes. So when you get to drill, you'll just be putting just drill and not any other. No, you won't put like expo. So the software knows that like for part 1 the drill is 5 minutes. For part 2 the drill is 3 minutes, and so on. Okay. Then we're gonna click OK. right? And then let's go ahead to connect. Okay, and then we're gonna connect this side. Okay. Okay, just want to double check something. Okay, okay, so yeah, you were right. For for the second module and third module, we have to define their own entities. So this is where we're gonna put in like the pictures, right, of each entity, so that we can see it passing through the system. Okay. So how I got there was clicking on entity, on the entity module there. And then we're gonna just add two of them, right? Okay, and then you'll go to part 2 and double click, and then just change the entity type there to entity 2. And then you click OK. And then you go to part 3 and change that to entity 3. And then you click OK. And then we can go back to the entity, and then on the entity 1 we can change the initial picture of the entity to blue, and then we can change the entity 2 picture to green, and then the entity picture of entity 3 to red, right? Then I think we are ready to run our simulation. I'm just gonna wait for those that are still. Am I ahead? Hello? From where, guys? From where? You're cruising. Yes. Sorry? Hey. Okay, guys. So now we are done with defining our entities and also changing our pictures, right? So now we can run the module, run the model and see how it performs, right? So what should happen, I'm gonna put it on slow mode. So what should happen is, for part one, it should go through CNC machining, lathe machining, and drilling, right? For part two, it should go first to lathe machining and then go to CNC machining and then drilling, right? And then part three should start at drilling, then go to lathe machining, then go to CNC machining, right? So just be on the lookout for the colors, right? Okay, so let's just run. Oh, before that, you have to go to your run tab and go to settings, and then change your units to minutes. Make sure everything is consistent, right? And then say the hours per day, it's an 8-hour shift, right? And then the base time units, we set them to minutes, right? And then we can just click apply. Click apply and then click OK, right? And then we run the model, right? Okay. Okay. So I'm just gonna press run. Okay. Okay. And I see that when it gets to the machining, the colors change, right? That shouldn't be the case. Okay. What are your colors doing? Here on the entities, did you change them properly here? Okay, let me just check let me also check on my side the settings that I did on my previous module, right? Okay, so I think the reason for that is that we should have defined the colors here according to this one, right? On your, let me do this. So this was like a practice run, right? That I did, right? So if you can see here, this is where I changed the entity pictures here. So let me just see something. Okay, okay, okay. So so on your, you don't have to change anything. So where you define entity.picture, just double click and change to whatever color that you want. Do you see that? Can you do that? Okay, let me see something. So guys, can you pay attention? You remember here, I get it. This is the model we're on now, right? So for assign one, your entity picture, on top of it, just double click on it. And then on the right, okay. Oh, so I was mistaken. It's not an attribute for the entity.picture, it's entity picture, right? So you click on entity picture and then you make it blue, right? That's for number one, for P1, and then you click OK. And then for number two, you change from attribute. So you edit that, you make it entity picture. Sorry? And then the second one, it's green ball, right? Okay, just look what I'm doing, right? So click on where you see entity.picture. Are you clicking on it? And then go to edit. Let me see. Yeah, just change the PC or just follow. Yeah. Okay, guys. So we're almost done. We just need to fix this entity picture, and then we'll run, and then we're done, right? Huh? So just a recap, we're just fixing the entity picture, right? We're changing the colors, right? So for P1, the entity picture, so you change from attribute to entity picture. How you do that, you just go to edit and then make sure you're on this type, entity picture, and then you change to whatever color, right? But for this exercise, we're going for blue ball, right? That's for P1. And then for assign 2, for P2, the picture is green. It's a green picture. And then for P3, the picture is red. And then you click OK, right? And then you're done with that. Okay. Then I'm just gonna go to entity. Here it can just be, yeah, it can be the same thing. Okay, so when we run it, so yeah, guys, we're running the module, the model now, and if you can observe, so if you can observe, the colors, if like for example, the color of part 1 it's blue, if you can observe, it's taking the path of the defined sequence, right? But I'm just gonna start it for so that everyone can see, right? I'm just gonna stop and start it, right? So if you can, let's just observe one color. We said part 1, it travels through CNC, lathe machine, and drilling, right? So that blue color, that's what, so we should see the blue color going to CNC machining, lathe machining, and then drilling, right? So this one here, that's in front of the Q, it goes to drilling. I don't know if you saw that. And then the other ones, they went through a different sequence. So yeah, just run this model and just look at the sequence, and you'll find that it's what we set according to the sequence, right? Then because I said it should run to infinity. Oh no, it's not running to infinity. It's about to finish. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Done. Right. And then if you can click yes and see the results. Just wait a bit. Okay. So the total number out is 30, right? As should be, because for each part, we set a limit of 10 parts, right? So so part 1 has 10 items that are being machined, and so on and so on and so on, right? Then if you can go to the to the other matrices, we can see that entity 1, 2, and 3, the average value added times they differ, right? So on average, to make entity 1, it takes 26. On average, to make entity 2, it takes 28.97. And to make entity 3, it takes 16.29. So by these averages, we can clearly see that the sequence in terms of making part 3 is much better than the other two parts, right? So it means in order to optimize our time, all our components, they should take that sequence that entity 3 takes, right? And then you have other matrices that you can check out. So for entity 1, that is the total time it takes in making entity 1. And then for entity 2, it takes 633. And the total time for entity 3, it's 650, right? But you'll observe that like that time, all of it, it's not value adding. If you subtract it from this VA time, value adding time, you'll find that the difference for entity 1 and 2 is higher than entity 3, right? And yeah, hence we are saying entity 3 has the better sequence, right? And then you have your total value adding time there of 71.55. Another matrix that we can look at is the waiting time. So entity 1 has a wait time of has an average wait time. Okay, actually it's the total. It has a total wait time of 574 minutes before being processed, right? And so on and so on, right? I need you guys to familiarize yourself with like the analysis, as you might be asked, what do your results mean, and what can the solution be, right? What is your recommendation, right? And then yeah, you can check the other matrices. We don't have frequencies, we don't have processes, queues. Yeah, queues. Okay, so in the CNC machining, uh, the waiting time is 152.61 minutes. For drilling, the queue time, it's the waiting time is 149, as well as the lathe machining, right? And then on average, in the CNC machining, 12.8 components wait before they are machined. And then for drilling and lathe, we have the same at 6.27, right? So yeah, those are all the all the matrices that you get after running your model. Anyway, guys, that's it for the session. Any questions you can ask after the session? Yes.